All right, guys, in this video, I want to show you a move that 99% of golfers get wrong, and that's how to start the golf swing. And here's the deal. During the start of the swing, you have one of two options. Either you can start the swing and get disconnected right away and spend the rest of your swing trying to get back to being connected, or you can start your swing connected and not have to make up for anything later on. Obviously, that second option is going to be easier. Starting the swing connected makes the rest earlier on. Recently, I gave a lesson to a gentleman. I showed him a couple drills and strategies that I'm going to show you in this video on how you can start the swing correctly to make everything else much easier. Let's dive in. All right, guys, so starting the swing connected versus disconnected. Now, the gentleman that I was working with has the same issue I see in a lot of swings, and I want you to make sure you don't have this in your swing, or you're gonna be spending the rest of your swing trying to make up for it. Here's what we want to have happen when you start the swing, and it is all about connection, and it's all about the lead arm motion. So here's the good one, and we're gonna show you some Tiger videos in here in Max Homa. Those are the models I used in the lesson with this gentleman. When I make a backswing, what I want to have happen is I want to have my lead arm stay connected to my body. Lead arm connected to my body. When I do it correctly, you'll notice with the Tiger and Max, the lead shoulder is going to travel down some amount, and the lead arm is going to travel in some amount. Okay, that's the good version. That's connect. That's what we want. The bad version that this gentleman had, and we have hundreds of people every month that we see CogornoGolf.com with this, is as the lead shoulder rides high, the arm disconnects from the body. And what happens there is this creates a gap. And this is what I want you to check in your swing. If you've got a big gap between your arm and your body early in the swing, you immediately got disconnected, and you're gonna need to find connection at some point later on in like the second that the golf swing happens. Very difficult to do. What's easy, what can get your swing on autopilot, make you more consistent, hit it more solid, is to keep yourself connected early on so you're already in a good position. You have nothing to make up for later on. Now, the mantra that I want you to have that this gentleman and I talked about, and I'll show you some of the drills, is when you start your backswing, you want to feel your lead shoulder travel down some, and we'll show you some visuals of this as well. Lead shoulder down as the arm travels in. And so I want you to do this with your lead arm only, just for a second to get a feel. And this is what we did in the lesson that worked so well. I said, hey, let's get your lead shoulder down towards the ground and back away from the target, down and back. The arm is gonna feel like it stays in, so the bicep is pressed against the pec here. You'll notice as my arm stays in, the hands have traveled up and in slightly. And as I'm doing that, the club head stays even with or just outside my hands. Okay, so as we start to hit with that, it's to gain a feel here, the shoulders down, the connection I created at setup between the bicep and the pec, right, that's squeezed together, I'm gonna keep that during the first part of my swing. So shoulder down, arm in early. And obviously as the shoulder goes down towards the ground slightly, it's also going to travel back away from the target, and that's one of the key motions, right? When I make my backswing, I set this arm connected, this lead arm's connected to my bicep. My shoulder goes down, which is the tilting part, right? That keeps me inclined to the ground. But it also goes back, which is the rotation part, okay? So my body, my chest and shoulders have some turn as this is happening. Shoulder down, arm in. So at setup, you're gonna feel that left bicep pressed against the left side of your pec. And as your shoulder travels slightly down, I want you to feel like that arm stays connected. So there's no gap between my body here at all, right? And you'll notice when we do that, shoulder down, arm in, that sets the backswing up beautifully on plane. That's what I was explaining to the gentleman is, listen, if you want a consistent golf swing, and you draw this line up your shaft at setup, you want your club head to ride basically right up that on the way back like you see Tiger and Max do, and ride right back down that into impact. That's how you can create a swing you don't have to think about. But gosh, if you start a swing and you totally disconnect from that like this gentleman, and you're way off plane early, you're constantly trying to find it, fighting yourself, very difficult to do. Now, when your lead shoulder stays down and the arm stays in, it's very easy to have the club right on plane. Watch what happens as soon as my shoulder goes up, my arm starts to go away from me, the hands go out, the club gets flat. and then I'm having some typically, right, compensations. If my shoulder stays down, my arm stays in, my hands arc slightly in, club head stays beautifully on plane. I don't have to do much there. So first things first, lead arm only. Create the connection between your bicep and pec. Shoulder goes slightly down, arm stays in. Now, there's a slight adding of the hinge of the wrist there, but very minimal. The club head, you're looking to just get even with your hands. And when you do the drill from face on, you do this to the point where your hands, the butt of the club gets just outside your thigh. That's how far back. Lead shoulder down, arm is in. If you draw this line down my shoulder, it's easy to see for those guys. The arm's inside the baseline. Hands are in, club head's right down the toe line, okay? So I like a couple lead arm onlys. You can feel the weight of the club better. And then we're gonna go ahead and feel that same thing. And this should get our swing started on plane. Lead shoulder down, arm in. So that I have to do much less work later on. If you get the club set correctly about halfway back, like that tiger position with the club above the hip, that's what I did with the guy. We kept looking at him and looking at that picture, going back and forth and tweaking until we got it perfect. And then all of a sudden, his steep shaft went away. His club was traveling from inside, right? He got more power, better contact, and that's what you'll get as well. Now, just to add a little layer to the feedback, what I like to put is a little glove underneath your arm, and I'm gonna explain why this works a little bit more in a second. But outside of the lead arm only, you can take a glove or a T head cover, put it underneath your lead arm, and that forces you to establish the connection between your lead arm and your body that you just want to keep the whole way. So for this one, we're just going to hit some 3/4 shots. Lead arm's connected, shoulder down, arms in. It feels like the hands travel in slightly, about over your shoelaces from your point of view. Club head stays up and out slightly. And this is how you want to start your swing. Lead shoulder down, arm in. And for you, if you put that glove and you're like, holy cow, Eric, that feels way more connected than normal, right? Kind of tighter than normal. Yes, that's the sensation you're looking for this, okay? We're looking for this to feel tight and connected, your lead arm to your body. One more, the glove is in. I'm just getting this initial motion correct. Start the swing correctly. Hands get outside of the leg, the shoulders down, the arms are in, the club head's even with my hands. Club head and hands aren't way away from me. It's not way low and inside, it's right down my toe line, okay? This is good for all of you, no matter your swing style. This is good for all clubs. Shoulder down, arm in. And that puts the club beautifully on plane. And you can do these, it's okay if the glove falls out in the follow through, but it's also okay to keep that in. You should hear the sound of that. You should be compressing the ball much better. Now, one of the key concepts, I just want to add this on the end here that really helped him, that might help you too, to understand this motion, is your lead arm needs to go across your body during the backswing. Okay, let me show you how that works. Hold your lead arm in front of you, right in front of your lead shoulder. Now, if I address the ball from there with my arm here and I make a normal backswing body motion, so a full 90-degree shoulder turn, my arm would never get enough depth. See how the arms stay too far in front of me. If we look at a good player top of backswing, we want to get the hands up behind the shoulder. Okay, that gives us enough power and lets us swing from inside. This is not enough depth. This would be if my arm didn't go against me at all. What should happen during the backswing is your bicep, see this gap, this little gap between my bicep and my pec? We can draw a little like triangle here, a little angle. That should decrease during my backswing. Your hand should get to like your right shoulder. Your arm has to go across your body, adduction, this way. So if you're going back and I just turn my body and my arm stays there, I don't want that. I don't want my arm to go just against my body with no body turn. I want my body to turn and my arm to go across it. That puts me in a position at the top where I can get my hands behind my shoulder. So it doesn't just stay in front of you, it's got to go around you some, okay? That was a little concept that helped him to the top. One more, arms connected, shoulder down, arm and hands in, no gap. The arm stays pressed against the body, no gap. Club head stays in front of me, not way inside, okay? That's going to get you nicely on plane, and again, give you much less to make up for later on. So, listen, do you need these things in your swing as all these other videos? Absolutely. The piece I'm talking about here is universal. The question is, what you need to feel to get to that universal checkpoint depends on where you're coming from. If you and I are both traveling to California, we're going to the same end goal, but I'm coming from Pennsylvania, you're coming from Florida, we take different routes there, but it's the same end goal. Getting here is the same end goal for all of us, but depends on where you're coming from. This is where coaching comes into play, okay? I was recently working with Steve, one of our coaches, on some of my backswing pieces, and having the feedback and having someone there that can say, hey, these are the things you have to work on. Don't worry about these. Do these drills, do this amount of reps. That's exactly what you need and what you haven't had, which is why you're not improving as fast as you want. Same thing for me, okay? When I get the feedback that I need and do the reps, boom, instant feedback, instant improvement. But you need expert feedback. So go see your local pro, get a lesson, come to cogornogolf.com, come see me in person, do something so you put a plan in place. Any questions all about this stuff, leave a comment down below. Appreciate you guys watching as always.